This is Antic, the Atari 8-Bit Podcast. I'm Kay Savetz. Valerie Atkinson was a member of Atari's Game Research Group. Now named Valerie Manfull, she was on the team that designed and programmed the game Excalibur, along with Chris Crawford and Larry Summers. Excalibur was published by Atari Program Exchange in fall 1983. She is also one of the programmers of Ballsong, along with Douglas Crockford. Ballsong is a music and graphics demo program released by Atari in which a ball bounces on the screen in response to an improvised tune. She was one of the programmers, with Ann Marion, of TV Fishtank, a demonstration of an artificially intelligent fish. It's unclear if the Fishtank program was released anywhere, although it apparently was shown at the 1983 SIGgraph conference. This interview took place on April 22, 2021.
Well, I was a math major and I took a lot of engineering classes because they were very fun, kind of like applied math. And then they had this new major, computer science, so I went into that. Let's see, there was a job list posting up at the career center at school for Atari for technicians. And so I applied and I got the job to be a test technician. So mainly we maintained the test floor where they tested the 400s and the 800s. That's when I was still in school. And then when I graduated, Chris Crawford was looking for some very junior programmers. And so he hired me as a very junior programmer. And I started out bit mapping the font, which I don't know if that's really considered programming, and then he realized I actually could program, and so I got to program, and I was working on Excalibur. Eventually, I was in charge of the largest module. Yeah, it was the largest module, and so anytime there was modifications, because as the program grows and grows, we would change things. And so anytime something would be modified, I had to make sure that it all fit together well and nothing crashed, basically. Then when we were done with Excalibur, I had to find a different project to work on. And so I joined up in the interactive animation group with Ann Marion. And so that's when I did my fish, the TV Fishtank thing. And so that was Ann's little project. So it was basically a simple character. So a goldfish is very simple, just swims around. But it would be able to have a little bit of AI. So it would be able to think, and there could be stimuli. So either internal things, like it could be hungry, or maybe it's happy, or things like that, or it's tired. And then there could be external things, like something scary shows up and, it would do something, or there would be some food and it's oh, hey, food, unless it's not hungry. So kind of a simple little character that could think on its own and would, move around and respond to external stimuli. That's also when I did, so Ballsong was Doug's project, and that too was a symbol. So that was a ball that responded to music, basically. So rather than a scripted movement to the ball, it would interact with the music. So when the music changed, and so once again, kind of external stimuli, the ball's moving. And that could be related to video games or different interactive stories or something.
With Ballsong, the music was semi-random, right? I mean, it was programmed to always make a nice song, but it was different every time.
Right.
And then the ball would actually change based on the music rather than the other way around, I guess.
Right. So it was the ball was listening to music and it would respond to it. But yeah, the music changed too.
There were two versions of Ballsong kind of released on the same disc, I think, numbers 1 and 2, and the songs are clearly different. Number 2 was kind of more of a Baroque tune. And do you remember what the differences were other than the song?
I didn't even know there were 2 ball songs. I mean, at least I don't remember. So it could be just the music style is different. I don't know. I didn't do the music. I just made the ball, like it was like in a cube, like a racquetball, where it could bounce on all the sides.
Right.
So I only did that.
Including the screen. It was sort of a 3D effect where it would bounce in the room and hit the screen that you're watching.
A cube, yeah. Yeah.
How long did that take?
Not very long, because it was mainly I was doing the fish tank, but Doug just wanted that program. I mean, so whenever somebody needed something on the 6502, they could come to me and I would whip up whatever they needed. They say, oh, I need something that does this. And so I would do it. So, but my part of programming Ballsong, it really didn't take very long. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how long, but I would say not long.
So you were a 6502 assembly language programmer. Did you learn that in college as part of your degree?
Oh, no. I learned it at Atari once I was hired with Chris. So when I was hired into the research, I didn't know the 6502. I mean, I had done some assembly language in college, but I don't even remember what processor it was. See, I wrote notes so I would remember. It was probably like a PDP-11, something like that.
Where did you go to college? I don't think we said.
University of Santa Clara.
So you picked up 6502 assembly language like it was easy, apparently, which it was not, and started doing these advanced, for the time, animation and AI things.
Well, it's not really that hard, the 6502. I mean, there's a limited set of things you could do, but then there's like tricks you could do because you only have, I mean, it's kind of slow and you only have so much memory. Although my machine had more memory than normal people, but normal people only had so much memory. I mean, consumers or whatever
Sure.
They're called, people who buy the things.
So did you have some sort of, I assume you're using an Atari 800?
Yeah.
And had a memory upgrade?
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember how much memory, but I know I had significantly more.
Did you do the development on the 800 itself, or was it cross-compiled?
Yeah, mostly I did, well, for Excalibur, it was all done on the 800. The fish tank was done on the 800. Ballsong was done on the 800. I did a little bit we had some list machines, but I wasn't the main list machine programmers. So I'd say 95% of my stuff I did on the 800.
Ballsong, that was just done because Doug wanted it done, and then what was his reason? What was his purpose? And it got released into the world, but I don't know how or why. Do you?
Yeah, I didn't know it was released into the world either. So he was looking at ways that like music and animation interact with each other. So how like the motion, in this case, a ball. So how motion expresses musical patterns and stuff. So, and a ball is a simple, once again, it's a simple little object because you could turn it into whatever your program needs, but balls are simple. I think he was just looking at that, how they interact. So kind of like an intelligent ball. Have you? But I mean, it could be if it was something else, if it was the character in your game or in an educational program or something, it wouldn't be a ball, it would be something else. So, and how that would interact.
Right. Characters that react to their environment.
Yeah.
Rather than just a joystick input or something like that.
Right.
So the TV Fishtank, not a lot is really known about it. What I had read, Liederman said that it was unfinished, and you were doing the hand digitization of the fish and the programming, and it was just a project that didn't get finished. But it seems like it got shown at a SIGgraph show. There was one screenshot that exists of this thing. Do you know anything about what happened with that project?
It probably did go to a conference because there were other people on the team and they were putting it on a list machine, but I don't think they had a fish. They had something else. I don't know. But it probably did go to a conference somewhere. I didn't go.
There's a very bad screenshot from SIGgraph 1984 that has a fish. and a plant.
It from an Atari?
Yeah.
Can you tell?
Yeah, it says from Atari Research Laboratory, and it looks like it could be an Atari.
Oh no, I mean, is it on an Atari 800 or is it on a?
It says
Okay.
800 microcomputer. Yeah.
That would be my fish. My fish is
Your fish.
famous.
It's orange.
Well, it's Dan's fish that I programmed, yes. Well, when Atari was sold, because Warner Communications sold us and we were all laid off, then these projects pretty much, well, I don't know if they all died because there's all that. Do you get to keep your project if you go somewhere else, or does Atari own the project? And so I'm not sure.
You were laid off, I assume, in 1984 when Chuck Schmiel took over?
Yeah.
We kind of glossed over Excalibur, so let's talk more about that. Chris Crawford talked about the development of Excalibur a lot in his book, The Art of Computer Game Design. And he makes it sound like, he kind of states right out of the gate that he started this project, he got you and someone else to help with it, and then he was distracted with many other things and kind of left you to do it, and there'd be a meeting once a week. And can you talk about that whole process?
I don't know that he left us to do it. I mean, he had other projects, but I would say he was definitely the main person, and yeah, it'd be like, I have my little part to do. And we did, I don't know if we met once a week or something, but yes, we worked right by each other. But like any project, how you divvy it up, and it's like, okay, you work on this and I'll work on that, and then we'll make sure they connect together, But he was definitely involved in the main person, and the, person who said how it goes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He mentioned that he'd ask you to program a thing, and you'd do a whole big module, and then they'd run out of room or decide it just didn't fit in the game and pull it right out again.
Yeah, that probably happened a lot. Yeah. Well, because it got so big. I mean, it was on the disk drives. So you needed, all the memory that normal people could fit. And that plus you had to put different disks in, if you go to a different room or a different place, and then you'd have to switch the disks, so it was not as easy as it is these days to play a game.
Sure.
Yeah, things were changed quite a bit. It's like, oh, we'll add this. Oh, no, we'll take it out. We'll add this. So, yeah.
Were you happy with the final product?
I guess so. I mean, especially for an 8-bit, it's quite impressive for what we can do with what we had. And especially, the 6502 is not really a fast processor, but we did so much kind of like, things on the interrupt so that we would be doing things quicker. So even though if you play it now, it's like very tediously slow, but it could have been a lot worse. So I think we did some amazing things. It's like we knew so many like tricks and everything to make it seem faster, and to do things like, yeah, like I said, like on the interrupts, we quickly do something and make it smoother. So yeah, I think it's a pretty impressive game for the time and for the processor.
Yeah.
And the 800 was an amazing machine. I mean, there were so many capabilities that we did not even get to, and had they not laid us all off.
Sounds like you were having fun with it and at the job.
Oh yeah, it was like going to play, not going to work. The kind of thing like people would go in on Saturday just to work on things or see what other people were doing. I mean, it was pretty amazing, the people that were there and the ideas they had.
Yeah. Chris wrote the end of that chapter on Excalibur, our goal was to deliver a working program to Atari Program Exchange by their deadline of June 29th. We knew that the game we delivered would not be the final version, but it had to be good enough to ship. We made that deadline by the skin of our teeth. I had to tear the program out of Valerie's hands. She couldn't stop making just one more change.
What? So June 29th, what year? 83?
I believe.
What year did we do
That's
it?
a good question. 82 or 83.
Yeah, I do remember there. I mean, because it just got so big, the program. And I guess it's like a lot of things that you're never quite done. You could always fix it a little and...
Sure. So what other things did you work there when you're in the research group that I don't know about?
Nothing that I remember. I mean, like I said, if someone came to me and wanted a little thing to do something, then I would, whip it up and give it to them. But I don't, those were not my projects per se. I would just okay, you need a program. Here it is.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about at the very beginning when you were first hired. You were still in college, and you said you were a test technician. What did that involve? What were you testing?
Well, that I said, it was the floor that built the 400s and the 800s. Mm-hmm. And so once it's built, you test them for however many hours. And so they're plugged into the test machines. And so I was part of the team that kept that going.
What percentage of them didn't work?
Oh, very few. Mostly if something needed how it was the test board they would need a chip change or something because they were running all the time. But I would say most of them worked. I mean, I don't recall things not working.
And you said in your LinkedIn that you constructed prototypes.
That is in my LinkedIn, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know what prototypes. I mean, again, it's like build this. I mean, I didn't design anything. So yeah, when I was hired, because it's definitely like a hardware job, not a software job. And the vice president of that little part, the vice president said they wanted some software people. I don't know why, but so that's why I was hired as a software person for that little department, because I really was not hardware.
When Jack Trammell came in, how did your time come to an end?
Well, every Friday, people were laid off, and research actually lasted pretty long. I mean, there were several weeks that nobody in research was laid off, and then finally, one Friday, half of us were laid off, and then the next Friday, almost everyone else was laid off. So, and the story was that research doesn't bring in money, which it's present time, it doesn't bring in money, but in a couple years, that's what's going to be bringing in money, the things that we're working on. So
right, it's the long-term thinking.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And a lot of people in research went to Apple, and so when Apple would come out with something, it'd be like, I knew that project. It's like, oh yeah, I know that. So yeah, Atari kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And where did you end up right after then?
I went to a company that did image processing. Not quite as exciting as Atari. I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't, it wasn't that, I don't know, like a bunch of brilliant minds. It was more like normal people.
What do you do today?
I'm a teacher assistant. Nothing to do with programs.
If you could send a message to the people who still enjoy using their Atari computers today, and you can right now, what would you tell them?
So there's people still playing on Ataris?
Yeah.
There's amazing.
There's a hobbyist community, I would say a vibrant community of people, and new hardware is still coming out, and people programming software and hacking on those machines.
So that proves what an amazing machine it was. I mean, because there's like the music chips are amazing. So yeah, wow. It's like, that's pretty amazing. I would say add more memory into your machine, because then you can really do a lot more.
I think the memory problem has been solved.
Okay, good.
And the new gadget that has come out in the last few months is a thing called a FujiNet that allows the machine to give it full network access, including web, SSH, transferring files between Ataris and FTP or whatever. So basically, you can hook it up and point it at a server, and it thinks it's a giant floppy drive, and it doesn't know that it's talking to a server in Poland. Downloads the thing, runs it, and
wow.
So which allows things like just on a game, something simple like multiplayer games over the network, collaborative high score lists.
Wow. So Excalibur could be a lot better.
Could.
faster, better graphics.
Yes. So I'll sign you up for making Excalibur 2.0. And
No.
I assume you don't have your Atari anymore.
Think so.
I'm just
Who
wondering.
knows? You know how you have boxes of stuff that, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any chance that the Fishtank program exists somewhere on a floppy disk still?
I probably do have it somewhere because I know I have Excalibur and, all the source. I think I still have the printed out source code for Excalibur, which is a crazy amount of paper. I have it's like a video, but it's not a VHS. It's like something before that, like some other kind of video thing of, I think it includes the Fishtank and some other projects that other people were working on. But I don't have any machine to play it on. So.
I do. Neat. If there's any chance I could talk you out of borrowing that, the videotape, the source code, any of your floppy disks, we can get it all digitized and save it for historical purposes and for the Atari community to learn from.
Okay, my impression was the source code was out there somewhere. Initially, we were not allowed to put it out there, but our thought was always, it's like if you share the source code with people and then they could work on it and make it better. Mm-hmm. It's not this secret thing that nobody could have. It's like if you collaborate with people, then things just get better. Mm-hmm. Right? And so our thought was give them the source,
It may be,
if you want to make improvements or something, go for it. And it just helps everyone get better.
Yeah.
So I thought the source was out there somewhere.
It may be. I might be ignorant of it being out there. I know that Chris released the source code to Eastern Front 1941. So he, Excalibur may also. But the Fishtank thing is lost. So if you have a videotape of it or that on a floppy disk or something, that would be awesome to save that.
And Ballsong, I have no idea.
Ballsong is out there. Everybody had it. I mean, when I was a kid, we got it. I don't know if we downloaded it from a BBS or it came on a floppy disk from someone, but it was 1986, and we had it and we were playing with it, and everyone has that now. It was a one of the fun demos, like the walking robot demo and all that we all had to show off our computers and show how much they were better than the Commodore 64s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Is there anything else about the Atari days that you want to tell me that we haven't discussed yet?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
The time was too short. I wish that Trammell did not buy it. Warner should have held on, but
strong agree.
Nobody asked me.
Thank you for your time, Valerie. I really appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
If you enjoy these interviews and would like to contribute, make a tax-deductible contribution to the Internet Archive, a nonprofit digital library that has done incredible things to preserve computer history. Make your tax-deductible contribution at archive.org/donate. Thanks.